All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Discovering Multifamily podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Scandariato with Red Knight Properties. And today we have a special episode here and a special guest with us, Victoria Gallagher, who is actually a worldwide leader in hypnotherapy, which is an interesting topic to discuss on the Discovering Multifamily Real Estate podcast. We talk a lot about how to buy larger apartment buildings, and we learn a lot about the multifamily asset class. And a lot of people who listen haven't gotten started yet or got started. Maybe they're at a hump in their real estate investing career and they're trying to get to the next level. So Victoria has some techniques and provisions to assist in achieving larger goals and to help overcome limiting beliefs through different hypnotherapy and life coaching skills. So she's been around since 1999, and I'm very excited to have her on the show. She also hosts two popular law of attraction shows and the Power of Your Mind podcast. So definitely check that out. She also has a YouTube channel as well to give different tips and strategies to use in your everyday, not only your professional, real estate business life, but in your personal life as well. So really excited to have her on the show today. Great. Victoria, can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
It's okay. Very excited to have you here. And
yes, thank you for that introduction. I was kind of waiting for, I don't know, like welcome to the show or something like that. Like I wasn't sure where to come in. But yes, thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you for that great introduction. It's great.
Well, great. Well, thanks for coming on. So I want to learn more about your platform in general and talk about some of the skill sets that real estate professionals could utilize in trying to, whether it's, like I said, you bought your first apartment building, but you're struggling to buy the next because for whatever mental reasons, it's maybe outside of your realm, or you need more money, or you need more resources or more bigger team. Some ways to help change some of the mental roadblocks that people have. What are some, what do you talk about in your book and on your show, and just kind of walk me through your world?
Yes, absolutely. Well, let me just kind of start with where you had mentioned that, I've been around since 1999. So prior to that, just so you understand just a little bit of context, prior to that, I used to be a stockbroker. And so I came from a place where I dealt with people from all walks of life, from people who were saving for their college education or their children's college education, to saving for retirement, to people who were multi millionaires. And so prior to becoming a hypnotist, I really got a taste of what different people's belief systems were, and really dealing with people with different levels of wealth, and really hearing their different vocabulary and the way that they would talk about money and their money beliefs. And so when I chose to become a hypnotist, I really did want to help people with more of the mental aspects of the, of wealth building and of abundance. And then of course, hypnosis helps with all kinds of things, from health to emotional issues to confidence and all of that. And all of these really play a role when you're at a certain level in your real estate investing, stock market investing, any kind of investing that you might be doing, or just, all of these play a role in your relationship with money. And so, hypnosis, it's important to for a person to understand, in order to really understand how hypnosis works and why it works so well. And law of attraction, of course, is really, you get what you focus on. And so many people, when it comes to money, They focus on the wrong things. They're spending a lot of time focusing on things that they don't want. For example, they don't want for, this to take a long time. So you say, I hope it won't take a long time. Or they hope, that, or they focus on debt. They focus on all the debt that they have in the bank. And when you focus on debt, guess what that does? That creates more debt. So it's really important, though, also just to understand that we have in our brains, our brains are basically made up of two minds, two different types of minds. The first mind is the mind that everybody uses to make their conscious decisions throughout the day. And this is our conscious mind. The conscious mind is where your willpower comes from, where your decisions are made, where short-term memory is. And, and it's not very effective at creating long-term change. Our bigger part of our minds is our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is really running the whole show. The subconscious mind is running your heartbeat, your blood flow, your breathing, everything in your entire body is run from your subconscious mind. And it's also where all of your limiting beliefs are. And when we were children and we were growing up in our homes, our parents and teachers and kids and friends would say things about money to us, such as like money is the root of all evil, or you have to work really hard in order to create a lot of money, or you're not going to get anywhere. You're never going to get ahead. Or, and there's just an endless stream of these ideas that just get put into our little brains when we're not able to really combat any of that information with conscious, rational, logical thinking. It just goes straight in. And then this is how we're operating from the time we're 18 years old, how we're going to be, how we're going to behave, how we're going to see the world. Our beliefs are already pretty much set in place. So we we get to a certain ceiling. We see what maybe our parents were able to do. We see what maybe our friends that we're surrounded with are able to do financially, and we end up ultimately just only being able to get so far because we're already predisposed to making a certain amount of money. And so that's the problem is that's why people get stuck and stopped at a certain wall, a certain ceiling, and they can't seem to bust out of that.
Right. No, it's very interesting. You talk about conscious and subconscious mind. So how do you transform the subconscious mind? Because it's subconscious for a reason. What are using hypnosis? I've never been hypnotized or just never had that experience. So when you're talking about changing your perception of money, whether it's good or bad, for like you said, as a kid, money's the root of, or more money, more problems. It's not worth it. Some of those other issues that may come up as a young child or even as a young adult that kind of just get ingrained into you. So using hypnosis is one of them, but like how would you use it in this situation when you're trying to grow your wealth?
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of times it's those subconscious limiting beliefs can be a little tricky to figure out, and sometimes it could be really simple. One of the things that I have people do when I take them into hypnosis is I literally, I ask them to get really clear and very specific about a financial goal that they are working on achieving. And then I will simply, in a state of hypnosis, I'll ask them, what is what is the belief that is preventing you from achieving that? Like, if I were to say, like, okay, you're going to achieve this goal within the next, what's a reasonable period of time? A month, let's just say. You're going to achieve this goal in the next 30 days. What's going to happen is you're going to hear some of the reasons why you can't achieve that goal. Though, like when you press somebody and you say, you're going to do this in the next 30 days, but that's not enough time. But I don't know how. But it's never worked out for me in the past. But so you're going to start to hear those limiting beliefs. So that's the very first thing is you need to get in touch with what your limiting beliefs are. The second step is really to prove those limiting beliefs incorrect. And you can do that in a conscious state, or you can do that in a subconscious state. And the real easy way to prove them incorrect is really ask and interrogate each one of those beliefs. Well, is that really true? Where did you learn that from? Who told you that? Is the person who told you that in the financial situation that you want to be in? Are there other people in the world that have what you want? And you look for proof. You look for models where your existing model of the world is incorrect. And once you have a new model and you have this new idea, you can now begin to implant these empowering beliefs into the subconscious mind. So how you do that is, very simply by, getting the mind and the body into a relaxed state of trance. Now, everyone has been hypnotized without even really realizing that they go into hypnosis multiple times throughout the day. So you actually, when you first wake up in the morning, and you know how you're in touch with all your dreams when you first wake up, and maybe, some mornings are different than others, but a lot of times, you wake up and it's like, oh my God, I just had the weirdest dream. And then, but then as time goes on throughout the day, you kind of forget about that because you become a little bit more in your conscious mind. So you're in touch with your conscious mind when you're in that first waking up phase in the morning. And the same thing happens as you're starting to doze off to sleep at night, and things get a little weird. You start to actually drift into hypnosis. You go through hypnosis before you fall asleep. And so those are two very distinct times in your day where you're actually in a state of hypnosis. Another time is when you're driving down the street and you're just kind of zoning out. And I mean, have you ever been like zoning out so much to the point where it's like, oh my God, I just missed my intersection. Where was I? Like, who was driving the car? And so you're in a state of hypnosis when you're doing that. So there's many, many times when you're in that state. And that's why I always like to explain what these states feel like, because so many times people say, oh, I can't be hypnotized, or I've never been hypnotized. And the truth of the matter is we've all been hypnotized many, many, many times. And it's just in that state that's not so weird after all. It's in that state that the subconscious mind is ripe and ready and receptive, and it's going to receive those suggestions without rejecting it. So any idea that you want to plant into the subconscious mind, you just need to go into that, kind of alpha. There's different brain waves that your brain goes through when you're in the conscious state. You're in what's called beta. We're in a beta right now having a conversation. Then when you just kind of close your eyes and you just maybe visualize for a little while, and it maybe takes 5 or 10 minutes, you're accessing a new level of brainwave state called alpha. And then just one step below that is a state called theta. And that's the ideal brainwave state for any of the suggestions that you want to plant into your brain. So if you want to plant into your brain that I'm in the process of becoming a millionaire, and you create these new affirmations, these new ideas, I'm in the process of buying, new real estate investments. I'm in the process of being more profitable than ever before. All of the suggestions that you implant into the subconscious mind, they take hold and they now become your new reality. Now, is it like an overnight thing? Is it something that you just listen to or program yourself to do once? No, you actually do need to do this on a fairly regular basis, because you've had these old ideas for so long. It's going to take maybe 21 days, 30 days to really get those new suggestions to take firm hold and get you feeling and believing like the new ideal self that you are wanting to become.
Got it. So I liked what you said about in like when you go into the state of hypnosis and you're receiving whether you call them affirmations or just suggestions, is I think they're two different things. Because with affirmations, sometimes they say, "Oh, I am a millionaire," or "I am a billionaire," or whatever. I have thousands of units of real estate. It's all untrue, right?
Right.
So can you give us some tips in terms of uh, the best way to start manifesting those ideas when you're in those mental states, in terms of what you should be listening to, or whether even you're saying them and you record them and then you play them back to yourself. Just give us some advice on that front, because I've heard mixed things on affirmations versus suggestions as well.
Absolutely. So, yeah, an affirmation and a suggestion, they're kind of synonymous, but there's a proper way to make them so that they actually work. Most affirmations don't work because you're affirming something that isn't true. And an affirmation, really, in the essence of it, is to affirm something that is already true. And so that's the main key point that you want to keep in mind when creating affirmations that are or suggestions that are going to be effective. Number one, you want them to be true. Now, how can you make something true that you're kind of moving toward? And that's where I like to create these bridge statements. These bridge statements are sort of like you notice that I'm in the process of, or how about I love it when, or how about I deserve to, or how about it's great when when I'm feeling this way. And all of these little bridge statements, they make whatever it is, like if you say, if your goal, if your ideal affirmation is to be, I am a millionaire, well, obviously when you say that, you're rejecting that. I mean, it's almost impossible to believe that if you've only got, $20,000 to your name or whatever it is. And so you have to create suggestions that are absolutely believable. And the way that you would get yourself from where you are right now, what your level of believability to I am a millionaire is by I'm in the process of becoming a millionaire. I deserve to become a millionaire. There are millionaires, there are millions of millionaires in the world, and you give yourself these truthful statements that allow you to absorb the idea of becoming a millionaire. It's all about the idea, and it's all about how that idea is making you feel. Because affirmations that feel bad, they're going to keep you in a low vibe. And they're going to also, when you're in a low vibe, people can feel that. People can feel that low vibe. They can feel that you're not happy. They can feel the negativity. And so you're not going to be attracting the right people, situations, and circumstances to you that are in alignment with your goal. So you want to get your vibration to feel, how would I feel if I was a millionaire? And that's actually a great affirmation in and of itself. An affirmation can be a question. How would it feel to be a millionaire? And you just ask yourself that question. When you ask yourself a question like that, your subconscious mind has to answer it, has to find the answer. And then the other thing too is that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. When you're using visualization, which is just another method of programming the mind, when you see yourself in the ideal place of what would you be doing once you we're just using being a millionaire as an example. So what would you be doing? Well, you be in this amazing house in the backyard, sipping champagne and toasting and celebrating and doing all of the things that you would be doing. Or, you would be out making even better real estate deals. You would be shaking hands with somebody after making that amazing transaction. So you would see yourself in all of those situations, and you're telling your subconscious mind this story of what it's like when you are finally in that situation. So because it doesn't know the difference between what's real and imagined, it has to bring that, whatever you're imagining, it has to bring that into fruition. So those are just a couple of ways that you can use hypnosis to really reprogram the mind.
Interesting. And so how do people make the most of hypnosis in terms of getting the most benefit from it? Is there audio tapes? Like what's out there?
Yeah. So there, for one, you definitely want to be consistent. So consistency is the key to success. And so you want to, and you can go to a hypnotist who specializes in wealth and abundance and law of attraction and manifesting. Or you can also, there's apps such as my HypnoCloud app, and the apps, or hypnosis downloads, or YouTube videos, or there's all kinds of material out there on the market that can really help you. But again, you want to make sure that the place that you're getting them from, they understand these concepts, because there's so much misinformation out there. There's a lot of affirmations out there that just kind of really dumb this whole thing down and do the I am rich, I am wealthy, I am abundant, I am, and that's not necessarily, those are fun to listen to. They kind of, help you to feel good, but they're not really the truth, and they're not really the best way. So you really want to find a good brand of hypnosis recordings, if you're going to go the recording route, or find a good hypnotist that really understands how this stuff works, and and have that person make you a custom recording for yourself, or listen to an app or a hypnosis program on a regular basis, twice a day for the next 30 days, and notice how it makes you feel, and notice how it actually transforms your thinking, because it ultimately starts with transforming your thinking, which is going to transform how you feel, which is going to transform the actions that you are taking. Because if you are not feeling confident, if you don't have the belief in yourself, if you have doubts, if you have fears, if you have procrastination, there's a reason for that. And the reason is because of the beliefs. And so you've got to change those beliefs, you've got to change the feelings, and you've got to change what you're imagining. And when you change all of those, the action steps are a natural result. And you're going to take the correct action steps that are going to put you in in front of the right opportunities for you to act on.
Right. You mentioned you have an app, Victoria. What is that called?
My app is called HypnoCloud, and that app actually gives you access to well over 500 different hypnotic recordings, from anywhere from just being able to do the health things like quitting smoking and losing weight, but I mainly specialize in wealth and abundance and law of attraction and manifesting. So most of the app it has to do with these kinds of topics.
Excellent. How can people find you for the most
So
part?
they can find me by going to victoriamgallagher.com, and that will that'll put you in touch with my app, my books, coaching, courses, all the things, my podcast, YouTube channel, all of the things that I do.
Excellent. We'll have a link to Victoria's website, podcast, and app in our social media descriptions when we post the show. And if you liked what you heard and or saw today, please give us a rating and review on iTunes. It would really help Victoria and my message get out to a greater audience. And really want to thank you for coming on the show today. And I will be downloading the app and checking it out. And I would encourage my audience to do so if they're really trying to level up their real estate investment career and game. I think this could be very beneficial for them. So really appreciate you coming on, Victoria. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And I wish you and your audience the best of luck.
Thank you.